All right. Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, please do say yes. If you can hear me, please say yes. Okay. Awesome. All right. Good to see. Good to see you guys. All right. And yeah, the mic also works. Okay. Good to know. All right, guys. So today is the final revision for CodeVita 2022 Zone 2. Zone 1 is already done. So Zone 2. And we have one question from Zone 1 as well. So I'll discuss that. A bunch of other questions are already on the Edyst platform. So you can check it out over there. How are you all feeling before your CodeVita tomorrow, everyone? How are you all feeling for CodeVita? I think it's tomorrow and day after, right? For everybody. How are you all feeling about it? Good. Okay. All right. Nice to know. Nice to know that some of you are feeling good about it. Good to see that. Okay. So today, just going to take up two to three questions. Okay. Depending on your appetite and my appetite. Let's see. We'll take up 2 to 3 questions. So first things first, I just want to talk about plagiarism and attribution. So I'm just going to talk about this first. Then we'll look up one particular interesting identity, which I don't think many of you will be aware of. Finally, we'll look at this question called Jumble with numbers, and then we'll look at the vaccination planning. This is a good question, and we'll look at the solution approach for it. If there's time, we'll code it up also. Otherwise, we'll look at the solution approach for it as well. Okay. All of these questions are available on the Edyst platform. You guys can check it out over there. All right. So as I start right now, just a little bit word on plagiarism. Now, every year in CodeVita, everybody asks, what's going to happen with plagiarism? Are they going to catch in plagiarism and so on? Well, simply, first of all, it's an open book test. Okay, open book test, which means that you can take any code snippet from the internet. Okay, I can't really see what I'm typing here, so let me just put it here. Yeah, from the internet, provided you give it correct attribution. Okay. What does the correct attribution mean over here? Well, it just basically means that give the link over there. So like, for example, if you're typing in Java or C++, just make sure that you mention at that like at the start of the code and on the side that code for theorem taken from so and so website. Right? So mention so and so website. Let's say stackoverflow.com or something, right? And so on. So stackoverflow.com/something. That is, you can mention that over here. The exact link. What you cannot do is you cannot take codes from other participants. You cannot take from other participants a particular code and then put it here and say that it's actually going to work out, right? Don't do that. Don't take the code from other participants. So don't take code from other participants. Now, usually what people start, screaming or crying about is, sir, but if we both take the code from the same source, then won't we have the same connection? Like, for example, me, Aneeq, takes the code and somebody else, let's say Mr. Raju takes the particular code right from the same stackoverflow.com. So Aneeq and Raju, if you do the connection between, if you do the analysis between them, it will look like they both are copied from each other. Well, not quite. If both of us take the time to actually put this, not even both, just one of us takes the time to put that I've taken from stackoverflow.com, then you're safe. And when I say stackoverflow.com, put the actual full URL over there. But if one of us does not put, then it will come in, oh, I might have copied this from another participant. So let's say Raju put it, I did not put it. It could look like I have copied from Raju, right? So that's how you can avoid. So don't take code from other participants. Trust me, guys, you don't want to be caught in this plagiarism and so on. It's an unnecessary thing. Just focus on your own career. Sooner or later, you are going to get a job. All of you, I'm sure of that, right? So that's a little bit about plagiarism and about attribution over here. Now, before I start, is there anything specific, any specific concept, any other specific kind of questions that you would like us to cover today? If that's the case, I will skip 1 or 2 questions and I will go to your questions. So please do let me know in the chat, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Zoom. Please do let me know on the chat whether you have any particular coding questions that you would like me to solve. I'll take that up. And don't forget to hit the like button if you're on YouTube. to hit the like button and help us, get some more subscribers. We are just at about 33,000. Would really like it if we take up like at least 34,000 or so. So somebody's saying advanced backtracking. Sure. Could you just share a couple of questions that you'd want to do? I think you'd want to do something like crosswords or something, right? Crosswords or Sudoku. That's the kind of question that you'd like to do in advanced backtracking. Is somebody's asking? Okay, got it. All right. So for just to save you over here, advanced backtracking is in itself is a really long concept. Yesterday we did cover one type of backtracking, which was not really backtracking, more on recursion, which was the question dole out Cadbury. Do check out that question again. It's in the recording of yesterday's class. As far as things like crosswords, please check out the solution that's mentioned over there. It will take a long time to cover, that particular question over here. But I'll give you a small revision of backtracking. Okay, so I will give you a small revision of backtracking over here. It will take too long to cover that code, but I'll give you an approach of crosswords as well. Crosswords approach. So I'll give you that approach. Okay, but yeah, it is the last question of that year. It's question number 6. It's going to take a lot of time to cover because usually the last questions are very, very lengthy. Okay, so that's the one thing. Another thing about strategy, everybody. So strategy for CodeVita, I would suggest the following strategy. Strategy is as follows. Number 1, there will be 6 questions, right? So try to get 2 questions, meaning that your aim should be that aim for 2 questions in 3 hours. Try to get 2 questions done in 3 hours, if not in 3.5 hours. Like, if you want to get, usually speaking, the interview call and so on is generally given out if you do 2 or more questions. Last year it was given out even if you did 1 or more questions. So aim for 2 questions to be done in 3 hours. The remaining 3 hours spend on 1 question, right? Whichever is the medium question, spend on 1 question. Any other question after this is a bonus. Okay, so do it if your guys are at level of competitive coding and so on, then try to do all of them. That's a different thing. But for most students, aim for 2 questions to be done in the first 3 hours. Identify the 2 easiest questions that you have, right? You don't need to worry about or rather they may not all be in order. Try to go one by one in all questions and try to figure out which question is the best for you, and then do 2 questions in 3 hours. There will be a lot of edge cases. The thing about easy questions is easy questions, but there will be edge cases. Trust me, there will be like a lot of edge cases in this. So just spend time, try to get the edge cases done. This itself will take around 3 hours. In the remaining 3 hours, spend just on 1 question. Choose the question that seems most solvable for you. Okay. All right. So that's that. So shall we get started with some questions, everybody? Shall we look at some questions? Shall we look at any questions, everybody? Are you all ready to look at some questions? Okay. So there is a new question called min combinations. I want to start with this one first. Let me just open it up. Here we go. So this question called min combinations. The question is just recently uploaded, but it was asked, I think, in in zone 1 of this year or in previous year's CodeVita. One of the two. It was asked. Pretty good question. Okay. So, and it goes as follows. 1 second. Alexander the Great, while roaming the stretch of Turkey, came across a wise man. He asked the wise man, who is the greatest conqueror of all? The wise man replied, a person with great strength and intelligence, whoever can solve a puzzle will go on to become the greatest. So all English, this generally CodeVita likes to give you a bunch of English. The puzzle is as follows. Given integers n1 and n2, select 2 integers a and b such that to solve the questions n1 into a plus n2 into b is equal to x, but there is a catch. X is the smallest positive integers which satisfies the equation. So what is going to give you is basically n1 and n2, and you're supposed to select a and b such that a into n1 plus b into n2 will give you the least over there. So for example, if I have something like this, n1 and n2 is given to us, and if I have something like this, so this is min combinations. right? So if I have this n1 is equal to, let's say, 34818, 8, and n2 is equal to 45632. The question asks, can you find out a into n1 plus b into n2 is equal to x? This is what they've given you. A into n1 plus b into n2 is equal to x. All right, fine. Find a and b such that x is minimum. So that x is the minimum possible number that you can get. And I believe x still has to be minimum positive integer. Otherwise, if it's the minimum negative, then we'll just make b or a like negative infinity or something, right? So it's not that x is minimum positive integer. Okay, has everybody understood the question? So for instance, if I were to give you the question, not 34818 and 45632, but let's say I had given you the thing as, let's say, 30 into a plus 80 into b is equal to x. Find a and b such that this x is minimum. What would your guess be, or what would your answer be for a and b? What would a you don't have to find a and b, rather you have to find x. You have to find x, rather. You don't have to find a and b, you have to find x. So it should be find x. So what is the minimum x that we can get to? What is the minimum x if I did 38 plus 80b? Any idea? Any thoughts, everyone? 110, somebody saying. Remember, a and b have to be, a and b can be any integers. A and b can be integers, any integers. Okay. But x has to be minimum positive integers. Somebody saying 110. So x is equal to 110 is one answer if a and b both are 1. Can I come up with something else? Can I come up with something else over here? Try to put other integers for a and b and try to find the answer. Very nice. Okay, so somebody's saying, oh, try to do this. Try to do. So x is equal to 110. So this is just one thing. For example, if a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 1, then x is 110. All right, fine. Somebody saying a is equal to -3 and b is equal to 1. In this case, what will x be? If a is -3 and b is 1, what will x be? Quickly, everybody, just give me the calculation. Simple maths. A is -3, b is 1. Yeah, it will be -10. Right? It's going to be -10. Is x -10 allowed? Is it allowed to do x as -10? No, right? It has to be the minimum positive integer. But you've come across very closely. You've come across very close here. Anything else we can do? Anything else we can do here? Okay. So somebody saying a is equal to -2 and b is equal to 1. So x will be equal to what at that point? A is -2, b is -1. So x will be 20. Yes. But you can do even better than that, as somebody just given. A is equal to 3 and b is equal to -1. If we do it this way, then what happens? Then we get that x is equal to 10, right? So that's the best. I don't think we can get lower than that. You can't really get lower than that, right? So the answer here would be x as 10. Okay. All right. So any thoughts on the approach of how we can solve this problem? Any particular thoughts on this approach, everyone? Why can't x be 0? Good point. To get x to 0, a and b will not be integers, right? If you try to get x to 0, so let's say x is 0, you substitute that, you will get that a divided by b is equal to, so somebody saying a is equal to -6 and b is equal to 3. A is -6 would be -180 and b is equal to 3, 240, right? No, it won't work out. No. How can you get x to 0 here? X to 0 will be 30a is equal to 80b, right? Whereas what it would mean is basically a and b are not integers at that point. Yeah, but a and b have to be integers. Okay. Okay, so somebody is saying that we should keep increasing the smallest number and decreasing, we should increase the smallest number and decrease the largest number such that the difference is minimum. Okay, but how, when do we do this? Somebody saying we have to increase a and decrease b because it depends on n1 and n2. Okay, yeah, so what you guys are saying is basically as follows: if n1 greater than n2, right, increase, and what do we say? It's like a n1 plus b n2 is equal to x. So if, so what you say is decrease n1, increase n2. This is what you're all saying, right? If n1 is greater than n2, and if it's not, then vice versa, right? We'll do this. But till when do we keep doing this? That's my question. Till when do I keep doing this? Okay, I did this. So let's say I give you a bunch of numbers. Let's say I give you the numbers, something like let me just say 99 and 9, let's say, or not 99, let's say I did 99 and 8. Okay, so till when do I keep doing this with 99 and 8? So you'll say, yeah, I have to decrease this, so I'll probably put like I have to decrease n1, so I'll probably put like minus, I'll do -1 here, and for 8 I'll do +1, so it's going to be like minus 99 plus 8, which is equal to minus 91, right? So not enough, I need to keep increasing 8 till it becomes positive, right? So I'll say that minus 99 plus, when does it get positive? It'll probably get positive beyond like 88, 96, 104, right? It gets positive at 104, right? Basically like 8 into 13, right? 104. So this would give me like 4 over here, right? But how do I know this is the minimum? Can I go even further down than this? Can I go even further down than this one? Like, is 4 the most minimum? Can I actually have further than this? You guys all got the question, right? Everybody understood the doubt over here? What I had. So as per what you said is, if n1 is greater than n2, you keep decreasing n1 to increase n2. If I keep doing that, then I eventually get that, if let's say 99 and 8 are there, I do minus 99, and then for 8, I just do like up to 13. So I get 4. This is less, but how do I know it's the least I could get? How do I actually know that it's the least I could get? Like, is 4 the answer, or is like it even lesser than this? Any thoughts here, everybody? Storing in min and checking if it is greater than 0. Okay, but you get my point, right? Till when do I keep going? Maybe 4 is the minimum. So when do I stop checking? Let's say you found out another number 3 later on. So by that logic, I might find 2, I might find even 1 later on, right? So when do I stop, basically? Somebody's saying until x is not 0. Fair enough. But in that case, in this scenario, how do I know how to stop at 10? Because we are all saying I cannot go below 10 over here, right? How do I know if I can't even go below that? Yeah. So here I'm not stopping below up till 0, right? So how do I, when do I stop, basically, over here, if I'm going to do this? You're all understanding the question, right? I'm just curious about that, right? Okay, cool. Everybody's getting the question. Okay, awesome. Okay, so for example, here I can even do something like what is 99 into 2? 99 into 2 would be 198, right? So it will be like minus 2 into 99. Okay, and I'll just for the sake of it put this is like 13 into it. Okay, so it's like minus 2 into 99. Okay, plus let's say 25 into 8. What will I get? I'll get minus 198 plus 200, which is actually equal to 2. So I actually got something lesser than this. Right? I got lesser than this. But how long do I keep going on for that? That's my question. Right? How long do I keep going on for that? Okay. Tricky question, right, everybody? Tricky question. Before reaching negative values. So if I'm reaching negative values, I'll just increase the positive value, right? Like I'm not keeping this so constant here. So somebody's saying if x is less than 0, will break. But how do you know you're not know which one you're increasing and which one you're decreasing? That's my question. How do I know which one to increase and which one to decrease? Initially, I put a -1 and +1 in all of them. But should I be putting -1 and +1 in all of them in the first place? Right. For example, if it was, let's say, 9 and 8. Let's say if it was just 9 and 8, just as another example. Right. So you would actually not put -9 and +8. You would do the opposite. You will do 9 and you do -8. Right? Because 9 minus 8, 1, that's it, you're done. Won't get lesser than this. Right? So even this falls short that if it's greater, then you should decrease it. No, 9 minus 8, I'm getting 1 over here, so I'm happy with that. Right? I'm missing checking LCM. You guys are getting close now. You guys are getting close. So this is the interesting. This is what I wanted to tell you all about. This is the kind of questions that you should have seen before. Okay. And this is why everybody should do a data structures algorithms course whenever you have time. Please make sure you do this kind of a course, because most of the time in most of these questions, it's all about pattern recognition. You should see it and you understand. See, what you saw over here was an equation, right? The equation is like this, right? N1A plus N2B is equal to some X. Generally speaking, you will notice that there's an equation like this: ax plus by is equal to GCD of a comma b. Okay, ax plus by is equal to GCD of a comma b. Where what's going to happen is when you do ax plus by, if you forget about the coefficients, you forget about a and b, if you take the GCD of n1 and n2, you will get the minimum number x here if you take the GCD of n1 and n2. If you take the GCD of n1 and n2, and somebody in the chat has very nicely pointed it out, maybe use Euclidean algorithm. Absolutely correct. The proof for this is beyond like the time today, but the idea over here is if you did Euclidean if you did the Euclidean extended algorithm, you would know that if I did ax plus by, it is equal to GCD a comma b. Not that it's always equal to GCD a comma b. The minimum positive integer that you will get of ax plus by is always GCD of a comma b, is what you'll end up getting. So the idea here is your a and b can change as much as possible over here, right? That's not an issue. If you wanted, if given n1 and n2, if you want the minimum positive integer for x, simply you need to do GCD of n1 comma n2, because those are given. You just do that GCD of n1 comma n2 and you'll get the answer. Okay, I repeat, given any equation over here, n1a plus n2b, if you take the GCD a comma b, this will be equal to x, which is equal to minimum positive number. Is that the only solution? Obviously not. If I just multiply this by 2, let's say 2 and 2 over here, I would get 2x, right? And so now your a and b can be considered as 2a and 2b. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the minimum positive integer that you will get in this solution is GCD of n1 and n2, right? Why does this happen? Go check out the proof of Euclid's extended Euclidean algorithm. You will find out why this actually happens. There's a proof for all of this. Okay. My point is, anytime you see something like this, and there's further proof for you to know why this is happening like this. Let me just open up the question again. So if you see the question over here, check the constraints. A and B could be both up to 10 raised to 7. N1 and N2 could be both up to 10 raised to 7. Generally, whenever the numbers are very, very large, Okay, they're so large that you will never be able to even to order n properly. Generally speaking, you should start your senses should start tingling. It is either a maths question which can be solved in order one time, meaning that I can just do the math behind it, right? Or it has something to do with bit manipulation or binary search. It's one of these. Because even if I did order n, that is, if I went from all the elements from A to B, right? All the possible, and it's not even possible because it's minus 10 raised to 7. So I'll go from all the elements from minus 10 raised to 7 to plus 10 raised to 7. In that itself, you will get time limit exceeded, right? So you should basically, this is part of the sense, this is part of the sixth sense over there. And when you look at the constraint, you say that, okay, it's not really a direct arrays question or a trial and error question. There's some maths behind it. Okay. So let me do this question really quickly. Let me just possibly do it in Java over here, right? And we need to find the minimum positive integer. So that's nothing but the GCD of the two elements itself, right? So I do that public, import java.util.scanner. Okay. See a lot of people on YouTube as well as on this class right now. Okay. They have a saying in Hindi, Der Aaye Durust Aaye, which is something like better late than never. So thank you all for joining the session. Even though it's a little bit late, but good to see you all join the session. If you guys are on YouTube, please do hit the like button. We're doing this all for you, helping you guys revise for CodeVita. So please do hit the like button and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Okay, cool. So public static void main. And guys, we just did the GCD part 2 days before. I think on Monday is when we did the GCD part, right? Do you all remember the GCD part? How you find GCD? Can anybody let me know in the chat how you did the GCD part on Monday? I think Monday itself we covered GCD. So let me know in how you guys did basically the method for finding GCD. Do let me know that. Okay, on the chat. So I'll just mainly do the other stuff. Int t is equal to scan.next, and this is the number of inputs, and what do you say? Scan is equal to scanner system.in. Okay. In CodeVita, how many questions are there, sir? There are 6 questions. CodeVita. Exactly what is the level of questions and so on. Just check. Last week we had done a session and done an entire thing about what are the level of questions and what is the kind of questions, what are the kind of topics that you can do, right? Okay, so we accepted this, and while t minus 1 is greater than 0, I explained yesterday why this is the same as accepting t number of test cases. So it's the same thing. Now I'm going to accept int n1 is equal to scan.nextInt. Oh, by the way, it is long values. So it might be long values because 10 raised to 7. Let's just keep it to long value, just be better. So long n1 is equal to scan.nextInt, scan.next long rather, right? And long n2, right? And basically the answer, system.out.println, the answer is nothing but GCD of n1 comma n2. That's all we need to do to print it out, right? How many hours is the exam? How many hours is the exam, everybody? It's 6 hours. 6 hours test, 6 questions, 6 hours is what you get. Okay. That's all I need to do. I just need to write the GCD method as well. Anybody remembers the GCD method? If you do, please let me know in the chat. Let's keep it long n1 comma long n2. And the way it works is I would want n1 to always be greater than n2. So I'll just check if n1 is greater than n2, then that's fine. But if n1 is less than n2, then what do? I just say if n1 is less than n2, I just try to, so long temp is equal to n1, n1 is equal to n2, and n2 is equal to temp. So I got this, right? Fine. What do I do next after that? So nobody remembers the Euclid's extended algorithm to find GCD. Okay, no issues. Basically what you do is you keep taking their modulo. You keep taking the modulo until one of the modulo basically becomes 0. The moment the smaller one becomes 0, then the next, the first one is the, it's like finally so for example, if you wanted to find the GCD between 99 and 8, GCD 99 and 8 is equal to GCD of 8 comma 99 modulo 8. Okay, so you take the smaller number and then take the GCD with the 99 modulo 8. What is 99 modulo 8? So I think we just did this. 88, 96. So it's going to be 2, right? Is that correct? 99 modulo, no, it's going to be 3, right? It's going to be 3. So which will be equal to GCD of 3 comma 8, 8 modulo 3. 8 modulo 3. And what is 8 modulo 3? 8 modulo 3 is 2. So then you'll get, which is equal to GCD of 2 comma 3 modulo 2, which is 1. The moment you've got 2 comma 1, then 1 will be the GCD of this anyways, right? The moment any of one of them is 1, then 1 has to be the GCD. You're not going to get anything on that. So it's going to be 1 over here. You could play this out further and you could just say it's equal to GCD 1 comma 0. So in that case, this 1 is the answer, right? So that's the case of 99 and 8. Let's look at the other one, which was GCD 80 comma 30, right? That was the other one, which would be equal to GCD of 30 comma 20, because 80 modulo 30 will be 20, which will be equal to GCD of 20 comma 10, which will be equal to GCD of 10 comma 0, because 20 modulo 10 will be 0. So 10 is the GCD, right? 10 comma 0 is, so 10 has to be the GCD over here. Okay, so that's how you do the Euclid's external algorithm. You basically keep doing, for if you want to find the GCD here, I return GCD of n2 comma n1 modulo n2 is what I do. Whatever is the answer of that, you'll keep going further. So the recurse, this is the recursive case. Any recursion has to have a base case. What's the base case here? As usual, as I said, if n2 equal to 0, the moment it's 0, then I can return n1, right? That n1 is the GCD over there. So let's run it and check whether we have made any mistake somewhere. Okay, so it passes this test case. So the answer for this is 2, by the way. Sum A into sum B will actually give us 2 over here. Interesting. And yeah, it passes all the test cases. So somebody is asking a very good question. Why did I even swap n1 and n2? I swapped n1 and n2 because I want n1 to be the greater element, right? Because n1 modulo n2 has to happen. Smaller element modulo bigger element will always be smaller element. So I don't want that. I want the greater element to be n1. And I don't know what the input I'm going to get initially, right? After that, it's always n2 modulo n1, sorry, n1 modulo n2 will always be lesser. So I'm fine. After the first call, it's fine. But during the first call, I want it. So a more elegant solution would probably be I do the if over here and then I call GCD, but I don't know at the input whether n1 is greater or n2 is greater. So I'm taking that over here. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Right. Clear, everybody, this question? Please do say clear if this question is clear for all of you guys. So please do say clear. Okay, good question. New question. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's look at another question, which is a very typical CodeVita question. I'm going to look at this question called Jumble with numbers. This is, by the way, free for anybody to do, even the guys watching on YouTube. You can just go in the description below and attempt this question. It's a free question out there. So let's look at this question. It's called Jumble with numbers. All right, everybody, shall we start this question? Jumble with numbers. Shall we have a look at this question? Please give me a yes if you are ready to start this question. Okay. So in NASA, two researchers, Matthew and John, interesting biblical names. Okay. Two researchers, Matthew and John, started their work on a new planet, but while practicing research, they faced a mathematical difficulty. In order to save the time, they divided their work. So scientist Matthew worked on a piece and invented a number computed with the following formula. A Matthew number is computed as follows using the formula: Hn is equal to n into 2n minus 1. A scientist John invented another number which is built by the following formula, which is called John number, which is Tn is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2. Now, Matthew and John are jumbled while combining their work. Now, help them combine their research work by finding out number in a given range that satisfies both properties. So basically, I want to find those numbers that are both Matthew number as well as John numbers. Okay, Matthew numbers as well as John numbers. In these kind of scenarios, let's actually try to create our Matthew and John numbers first and then figure out. But first, let's check the input format. Consists of three integers, T1, T2, and M. T1 and T2 are upper bounds, upper and lower limits of the range. The range is both inclusive of T1 and T2. Find the mth number in the range T1 and T2, which is actually a Matthew John number. So given T1 and T2, I want to find the mth number in that range. So for example, we'll come to that. Let's first generate our Matthew and John numbers, right? So let's do that. Over here, go here. Okay. So the Matthew number is this, and John number is what? Let's just check both of them. So the Matthew number is this one. I'll just paste it here, right? And the John number is this one. Okay, so if I actually create both of them, and I know that n starts from 0 apparently. So if n is 0, so this one would be 0 into 2. So it will start with -1. Then it will be like 1, because 1 into 2 minus 1 would be 1. Then it would go basically 2 into 2 and 2 into 3, 6. So it becomes 6 over here. Okay, then becomes 3 into 2 into 3, 6 minus 1, 5. So it becomes 15, right? Okay, somebody's saying, can you please explain about the constraints and think about problems given by constraints? Sure, I'll do that. Anyway, so 1, 6, 15 is a Matthew number. What else is a Matthew number, everybody? For the next one. So let's generate 2, 3 more. 4 would be 4 into 24, 8 minus 2, 8 minus 1 is 7, 28. Then 5 would be 10 minus 1, 9, 45. And 6 would be 6 into 12, 66. Right, everybody? Is this about correct? Right? Let me know. Let's go with this one. So this one seems to start with 1 by 2. If n is 0, let's say n is 0. I'm always starting at n is 0, by the way. So when n is 0, then I'm starting at 1 by 2, but does not seem like a number because it's positive integers, I would guess. So anyway, we'll keep that aside. For 1, we have 1. For 2, second. Okay, anyway. So for 2, what do we have? 2 plus 1. It would be 3. For 4, what would it be? 10, right? For it should be 10 over here, I guess. For 4. Yeah. For 5, what would it be? 15. For 6, it would be 21. So let's also calculate like 1, 2. So I missed for 3. No, I did here. Did I miss for 3? I did miss for 3. Yeah, my bad. 3 into 2. Yeah, so it would be 6 for 3. And 4, it would be 10. For 5, it would be 15. For 6, it would be 21. Okay. For Matthew number, h of 0 is equal to 0. Oh, yes, you're right. That's just dumb of me. Yeah, that's very dumb. Okay. Matthew number, so 0 is equal to 0. And same thing over here, by the way. 0 would be 0 also. Okay. So the first few numbers, what they say, but I think they don't count 0 for whatever reason. Because they are saying the first few Matthew numbers are these. Rather, the MJ numbers, let's say the Matthew and John numbers, right? So the MJ numbers here are, they have given this. They have given 1, 6, 15, and like 28. I guess 28 comes after this because it would be 7, 8, 2, 56, 28. Yeah, it comes 28 over here, right? So they've given this, they have not considered 0 for whatever reason. Might just be their take on it, but yeah, they've not considered it. They started with 1 over here. Okay. So that's the Matthew John number, basically the ones that come in both Matthew number as well as in John number, right? Those are called as Matthew John numbers. Okay. Now the question doesn't end there. Obviously, they want you to find the mth number formed, in the sequence with T1 and T2. So it's not just about any sequence, but rather you have to do both. You have to get the Matthew number, to get the John number. You have to get a number of you have to get the common elements, and then between a particular range, between T1 and T2, you need to figure out, which are the Matthew numbers, which are the John numbers. Now, the important thing here is also, for valid input, print the mth number. You do that, or you have to print no number is present at this index. So there may not be a number at that index, or you have to print invalid input. What does it mean by this? So for example, let's say I give you something like this. Let's say I go ahead and give you that the range that you're supposed to find is the T1 comma T2. That is, this is the point where you're supposed to find the numbers, right? So T1 comma T2 is equal to what is, let's say I give you the numbers 1 and 20. So what are all the Matthew numbers between 1 and 20? Matthew John numbers. I would have 1, 6, 15. These are the only Matthew John numbers, right? And if I say M is equal to, let's say 2, then you print 6. Right? If M is 2, then you print 6, because 6 is the second Matthew John number in this range 1 to 20. But let's say if I said M is equal to 5, which is the fifth Matthew number in this range, everybody? What is the fifth Matthew number in this particular range? Or rather, what is the fifth Matthew John number? What is the fifth MJ number in this range 1, 20? Do we have a fifth Matthew John number here? Exactly. There is no number, right? Absolutely correct. We don't really have a number over here. If we don't have a number, you have to print that number is not present, or no number is present at this index. That's what this one is saying. If it's not there, then you have to basically say no number is present at this index. And if an invalid input is given, you have to print invalid input, right? So you have to print invalid input. So this is a typical CodeVita thing. They not only wanted to do the logic, but they also wanted to validate the input as well. It's something that they do. Okay. All right. So how would we go about solving this? Well, what we'll do is, see, to get what we'll end up doing is we will actually have to start creating the Matthew and John numbers, right? Like there's no other way. If I look at the approach over here, can anybody give me an approach? Well, basically what you need to do is generate all Matthew and John numbers up to a range, right? And do that. Then starting from T1, right? Check both. T1 is the lower bound, right? So up to a range, up to a limit. So up to T2, let's say. Up to T2, you keep generating Matthew and John numbers. Starting from T1, check both, right? Which is basically like check both, M numbers and John numbers. Check both M and J, whatever numbers they have, and keep adding to a common list, right? Finally, take mth number from common list. Okay. Again, just to give you an example how that works out, let me just pick from here, right? And we will use the 2 pointers approach to do this. So for example, over here, let's say I'd given T1 and T2 as 1, 20, right? So I'd given that. So let's just check it here. So let's say it's T1 is equal to 1 and T2 is equal to 20. So I generated all the Matthew numbers up to T2. The M numbers, Matthew numbers rather, would be equal to 1, 6, 15. That's it. I don't have any Matthew numbers beyond that, right? And as for John numbers, I would generate 1, 3, 6, 10, and 15. Okay. Now, given 2 sorted lists, find the intersections of these lists. It's a very famous DSA question. That's what we'll end up doing. Simply speaking, if you look at the combined list, right, or the MJ list, if I look at it, what you'll do is you'll start here. So let's say I put an I over here and a J over here, right? So if both are equal, which they are, just add it to the list. Okay, increase and increase. Okay, and increase here, right? So I increased here. So I is pointing to 6 in the first one, j is pointing to 3. Obviously, this 3 is not equal to 6, so I should move j to the right and see that do I have an equal over there. Yes, I do have an equal. 6 and 6 are equal, right? So I can say that they're equal. I move I to 15, j to 15, j to 10. Again, is 10 and 15 equal? No. So this should be moved to the right. I see that 15 and 15 are equal. I got it here. And now both of them are done, right? So you can't really go further. Both of them are done. There is no more. So this is the common list. And then from the common list, you try to get the mth number. Did you guys understand the approach, everybody over here? First, we'll actually have to generate both Matthew and John numbers. And from that, find the intersection. Once I found the intersection, I will basically get the mth number from that. All right. Does that make sense, everyone? Is that approach clear to all of you? Okay. So do you want me to solve this, or would you guys go ahead and solve this yourself? Right? Do you want me to solve this now? And otherwise, we can discuss the next question. So do let me know in the chat. Should I solve it? If you don't want me to solve it, I can go on to the next question as well. Whichever. I mean, solve means actually put the code in, do the coding part. Solve it? Okay. All right. So we're saying next question. Okay. All right. Let me just see very quickly what you guys say. You're saying we will do it. You guys are saying we will do it. Yeah, okay. Let's go on to the next question. The reason is because it's a simpler question. This one is a simpler question. We've done these kind of ones before, and there are already solutions already available, right? Somebody saying, in which list should we check the mth index? This list. In the joint list, check the mth index. In the joint list, try to check the mth index. Okay. And if that index doesn't exist, that means out of bounds, then you print that index doesn't exist, basically. Okay. All right, that's somebody's question. All right, so what I was saying was, guys, go ahead, please solve this on your own. I've given you the logic. If you have any questions or anything, you can check out the official solution on the Edyst platform as well. It's already there. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next question, which was a question called vaccination planning. This is a good one. I believe this has come in this year's CodeVita also in zone 1. So it'll be a good one for you guys. From John sequence alone, we can get MJ, I guess. Not quite. Not quite. You can't really do that. Alternatively, can you actually equate these? That n of 2n minus 1 is equal to n into n plus 1. Because both of them are actually quadratic equations, will you be able to find points where they intersect with each other? That's another thing that you can do. But you will get those points in terms of n. I don't want in terms of n, right? Can I actually do that, by the way? I don't think so. No, I don't think we can do that. No, we'll have to generate each separately because, yeah. By the way, yeah, in Python, there is a function for finding intersection. So once you've generated Matthew number and John number, right? If you put them in a set and you take an intersection of those sets, in I think it's order 1 time, you will be able to get the intersection of both of them. Order 1 or order 9 time. But the point is you'll get the intersection. But the thing you will not get is you'll not get a sorted list. So you could do a sorting of that, but yeah, then it becomes order n log n unnecessarily. So up to you, whichever one you want to follow, you guys can do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to this other question that I had chosen for you guys. This was asked in this year's CodeVita, and you guys will benefit from it. We also asked it in the national mock test. So it was asked in the national mock test as well. And that question is this one, which is basically called a vaccination planning. Okay, and it's a bigger question. So, but let's go ahead and see. There are M number of vaccination centers in a city. N number of people have registered for the vaccination on a particular day. Okay. Sorry for that, 1 second. So there are M vaccination centers and N number of people have registered for a particular day. You are given their details in the form of age, name, category, and location. Vaccination centers are people's location. So vaccination center people's location will be given in the form of coordinates. people are divided into two categories, category A and category B. People who belong to category A will get vaccinated first, and then the people who belong to category B. Okay. Your task is to map people to the nearest center. If the distance from two or more centers is the same, then map that person to the center which appears first in the input. Next, you must organize the people who are assigned to same centers to take the vaccine. Priority will be based on conditions mentioned below. So they've given a bunch of questions. So things before. I'll just repeat the thing what this question is about. See, there are M vaccination centers. Basically, there are limited number of centers. You guys also, when you got your vaccine, you must have seen there are like a limited number of centers that are there. Okay. Now, given that there are a limited number of centers, the N number of people who have registered for that day have certain, age, name, category, and so on. The thing is, first things first is you need to map the people to a vaccination center. Before I get into category A, category B, and all of that, I need to map people into a particular vaccination center. This is my first task. Okay. How do I map people onto a vaccination center? If the distance from two or more centers is the same, or rather your task is to map people to the nearest center, meaning the coordinates of the vaccination centers will be given. Coordinates of the people will also be given. Based on these two inputs, I need to map everybody to the nearest center. And if one or more center is nearer, then I choose the one which appeared first in the input. So that's my first step. I map them to a nearest center. Okay. After mapping to the center, now they all got to the center. Who will get the vaccination first? So the vaccination will happen based on these criteria. Older people will get vaccinated first. If the age is the same, then they will get vaccinated according to their category. If that is also same, and by the way, according to category means A category will always be before B category is what they've said. If A is before B, if both categories are the same, right, then they will get vaccinated according to the name. So if you are born, Ajay, you'll get it'll be done before if your name is Bob. Okay. And the lastly, you're given a data of N people. You must process this data on the basis of the priority as explained above. Okay. So the input format is as follows as well. First line contains an integer M, which is the number of vaccination centers. Next, M contains two space delimited integers, which denote the latitude and longitude of the mth vaccination center. So assume it's like a 2D grid. In this example over here, for example, you'll be given two vaccination centers. One is at origin and one is at 0, 10. And then you're given 5 people: Atul, Sunil, Rajni, Salman, Kunal. Okay. And each one of them, you're given their age, you're given their category, and you're also given their particular coordinates. Okay. So once you're given all of these things, you have to first of all map them to a particular vaccination center. Within that vaccination center, then who cuts first is the question. And that's what's given over here, that in this case, Atul, Kunal, Sunil, and Rajni in one vaccination center, and in the next vaccination center, only Salman goes. I guess Bhai gets special treatment or something, whatever. But there's only Salman in one vaccination center and Atul, Kunal, Sunil, Rajni in another vaccination center. So that's how it goes. This is basically the question. Did you understand gist of the question, everybody? Have you guys understood the basically just the idea of the question? What's happening here? Right? So again, I'll just summarize this question as well on the slides. Let me just do this question on the slides as well. This question would be something like question 3 on CodeVita. You can expect this to be like question number 3. I don't think it'll be 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3, depending on the year. Yeah. So, okay. So vaccination planning, basically given, list of M vaccination centers and their coordinates. You're given this. And then after that, you're given list, right? Somebody saying only understood question. Don't worry, we'll give you the solution also. So you got a list of M vaccination centers over here, and then you got list of people. Each people, you have their name, their age, their category, and their location as well. Okay, list of n people. Now, first things first, what you need to do is we need to decide which center they go in. Okay, which vaccination center they go to. That's number one. Number two, within that center, what is their position, or in what order are they processed, right? Who comes first, who goes second, and so on. This is what we need to do. And how do we actually decide that? We decide that basis some things that they've given. Okay, so they've given us that if I have a list of people, then first I check their name, then I check their age, then I check the category, and then check their location and so on. Okay, they've given different ones, right? But deciding which center they go to is based on closeness to the center, and if they're equally close, then the one that appeared first in the input will go with that. Okay, clear everybody? Now, is the question kind of understandable? Now, the major part here, what is the major part? Can anybody tell me what's going to be the most difficult part for us finally, right? If I even further expand on this, if I had to, look at this, it would be like we need to decide which center they go to. This will be based on distance from center. Choose nearest one, right? So I would have to choose the nearest one to this. And over here, how they're processed, first is going to depend on category, then on age, then on name, right? Category, age, and then name is what it's going to depend on. So if I look at this question over here, what is the most difficult part that I'm going to face over here? What do you guys think is going to be the difficult part? Because as such, it's straightforward. As such, I know that if I just choose for each person, I know I'll go through all of the location, then I'll see which is the closest location. Once I've done that, then I will go through all of the people at a particular center, and I'll, figure out which one comes first. But what do you think will be the major challenge in implementing this question? Because this question is implementation heavy, not so much on the logic part, but it's more implementation heavy. So what do you think is going to be the major challenge over here? Very nice, Prashant. Superb answer. Very good answer. Thank you so much for that. Others, I'm not revealing his answer right now. First, wait for others to give an answer. Others, any thoughts? Maintaining the order. Yeah, very nice. Like the second part, right? Within that center, to figure out whose category, whose age, and whose name, that part is going to be difficult. Yeah. So we think finding nearest center. Finding nearest center will actually not be that difficult because you have your formula x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. That will not be super difficult. It will be a problem if, for example, there are too many people. But again, just going back to the question, this is where your constraints help out, right? So if I go back to the question, how many centers am I going to have? I'm going to have 10 centers and 50 people. For each of the 50 people, even if I check with all 10 centers, I will get at max, like I'll end up doing 500 iterations, which is peanuts, which is nothing for a computer to do, right? 500 iterations. So order m into n is completely fine with it. We have no issues over there as such. Okay. So finding the nearest center is going to be simple. I take one person, go through all of the centers and figure out which center is the one, right? Again, distance will not be an issue. Some people are guessing. I know why you might be guessing distance will be an issue, but take a person, compare with first center, compare with second center, compare with third center, compare with fourth center, all the way, compare with all of them. The minimum center is the one I go for. So that is not going to be so much an issue for me. Okay. The second part will be more of an issue because I have three things across which I have to sort. Now, your usual, if you do like collections.sort in your Java or in Python, you just do your dot sort. It is used to sorting only on one aspect, not on all aspects. Like you can sort it based on age, you can sort based on name or category, but on all three, we will have to put a custom sort over here. We will have to actually write a particular custom sort at this point, right? So I have to write it in such a way that the custom sorting works well. So as somebody is very nicely put it in the answer. We should create a class for people. The people, the person over there should be actually a class. And for that matter, even the center could be a class over here. But we'll create classes, and each of the people and each of the center will be an object. So that the moment it's an object, I can then sort those objects based on certain parameters. Right? Sorting objects can be done on multiple parameters. Otherwise, I will end up, creating like a 2D array, and in that 2D array, the first one is for category, name, and so on. But then how do I swap two values in a 2D array? Right? So it becomes a whole thing at that point. So here, whenever you have something like this, think of creating a class. Right? So that's what I wanted to get to you all. Think of creating a class over here when you have to do that. Now, what I'll do is I'll actually create the class first, and I'll dive directly into the code over here just to explain how we'll do it, because in terms of the logic, it's pretty much straightforward over here, right? That I first decide the center they go to, and then for each center, I then figure out what is the list of people basically at that point, right? So let me go ahead and I'll code it in Java, right? So public class main, and just follow along over here. I'll explain all the steps over here. So public static void main string args. Okay. And over here we have import java.util.star. Okay. Now I'll create two classes. One is a class for a center, and the other one is a class for one's a class for a center and the other class for people. So let me create first a class for a center over here. What will the center have? It will just have int x, comma y. Basically, it has int x, comma y. That's about it. There's nothing else in it. It has an int x, comma y, and I'll probably just create a, should be class cu capital. I'll create a constructor as well over here. Center int x, comma int y. This dot x is equal to x. This dot y is equal to y. So this is the center. Okay, so this is fine. As soon as I take an input, I will create a new center over here. Then let me say class people. Okay, and what is there in people? So people have a name. People have a category. That category, I could keep it in string. I could keep it in character. I'll keep it in character for now. I just prefer dealing with strings. So I said I'll keep it in string right now, I meant to say. So category. What else does this have? String name, string category, int age, and their own location, right? So let's say int x, comma y, right? Its own location as well. And if I just do people with all these things, string name, string category, int age, and int x, comma int y. So everybody's familiar with classes, objects, constructors. Like these are not new things to you, right? You've all heard of these things before. I'm not suddenly inventing some new thing here that you guys have not heard of, right? So this dot name equals to name. This dot category equals to category. This dot age is equal to age. This dot x is equal to x, and this dot y is equal to y. Okay. All right. Have knowledge. Great. Good to know. Okay. So this is the case here. All right. So now we got that. Now let's actually take the input. So how does the input work? First line of input is the number. So first I'll create a scanner. Scan is equal to scanner system.in. Now I'll create a new input. Let's say int m is equal to scan.nextInt. These are the number of centers we have. So the moment I've got the centers, what do? I'll just say for int I equal to 0, I less than m, I plus plus. These are each of the centers, and I should ideally create a list of centers. I need a particular list of centers over here. So I'll create that array list center is, let's say array list center C list is equal to new array list center. So I've created a list of centers over here. I will say, center C1 is equal to new center. And what is given in this? It's given X and Y. So I'll just take input X and input Y, right? Like this. I'll take that, created a new center. Once I create a new center, I'll just do clist.add C1. So I'm appending this to the list of centers over here. Okay. All right. So once I've done that, now I've got a list of centers. Now what do I need to do? I need to take a list of people. How many people will I have? They will give an input n after that to give the list of people. So, and by the way, this is a question asked in this year's CodeVita. So maybe it might be repeated, who knows? So next int, and let's do the same thing. Let's create a list of people. So let's just say array list people and make this as plist is equal to your array list people. And I'll do the same thing here also. Right. Here though, I am taking people p1 equal to new people, and this will be given with, first will be given the name, so that's scan.next. After that, after name, I'm getting the age. Okay, so I'll just change this a little bit. After name, I am actually getting the age, right? By the way, I think it'll be better if I don't do it like this. It'll be better if I do it like this. Int x is equal to scan.next int and int y, because I don't want to just spoil the readability, right? So let me just keep this here, x comma y. That's better. Okay, and same thing here. Let us just take all the input one by one. That would be better. So it's name, age, category, and location. So name, age, category, and location. So let's take that here. String name into scan.next. Right? Name, age, int, category, string category, scan.next, location, int x is equal to scan.next int y. It's all still in the input taking part. We're still in the input taking part over here. Okay, so I got this, and then what do? I say that, okay, scan.next int, and then I create p1. So this part should come here. P1 is equal to new p1. I'll first put the name as per my constructor, and then what am I putting? I'm putting category, age, x and y. So category, age, x and y. So these are the things I've put. Just to see that I have no issues in the input as such, I'm just going to run it just to see if I have any like compiler error or something like that. Yeah, so no compiler error, even though we have this, but no compiler error as such. Okay, right. So yeah, so far I've taken all of the inputs. Now what do I need to do next? Once I've taken the input, now for each person, I need to figure out which center they are going to, right? So for each person, I need to actually figure out the center that they are actually going to, right? How do I do that? How do I actually, figure out for which center? Obviously, I have to do the distance part, but how will I know which? So let's say I figure out that like for a particular center, I need to have a list of people, right? So the way I'll do this is I'll actually create a map. I'll actually create a hash map here. So I'll say hash map. What would be interesting is to have a tree set as well. But anyway, I'll not go into that right now. Let me just get to a hash map over here. Hash map with center. And you can do this again in Python, everybody. You can just create a map between two things. So that's also fine. So hash map with the center, and it will be an array list of people. Array list of people. Okay. And we'll say, we'll call this the map of center. So just a map is equal to new hash map center, right? Comma array list of, right? So this is how it is, and we'll do this. Okay, so just zooming out a bit so you can all see. Yeah, so this is how it looks. But yeah, so I created a new hash map, and now what I'm going to do is for each person in my P list, I'm going to try to add that to a particular center. So I'm going to go through all of the possible centers, and to each person in the list, I'm going to try to add that to the center. So if I had to do this anyways, why don't I just, yeah, so this is a better thing. If I was going to do this anyways, instead of adding to my C list, instead of adding to that, let me actually just also add to this one, right? Let me also add over here, and I'll say that map dot put C1, and here it's nothing. I'll just put a null for now, right? Because I don't have an array list at that point. And actually, no, why not just initialize one? So let me just initialize one, new array list, right? I'll initialize one. Currently, there's nothing there, but I'll just initialize an array list over here, right? So yeah, so now it's initialized, so I don't even have to worry about initializing. Great. So what do? I created a new center here, and then I put it in the map. So now this actually there in the map. I have a map of center as well as a list, right? So I have a center and a list of people that are there. Okay, cool. Now what I need to do is go through all of the people and assign them a particular center, right? So how do I go through all of the people? So for people P, let's say people P in P list, going through this entire list, let's say, right? I try to get the best location for this person, right? So how do I get that? I go through all of the centers that are there. So I do for center C in, let's say, C list, right? I'm going through all the C list, and I try to see, int distance is equal to, it'll be a double distance is equal to dist between, or let me just say double current. Just put this here. Double current is equal to some big number, and I'll say here is equal to math.min. You need to find the minimum distance, right? So that's a double minimum is equal to some this. I need to find the minimum distance. So I will now take the distance between my center C and my people's or my person's location. So what is my center C's locations? Basically, I'll just write another function saying that current, and put a double current here. So current is equal to, and the best thing to write over here is current is also equal to something like this. So is equal to distance between the C and the person P, whatever the distance between is there between the C and the person P, and just find that out. And if you want to be very specific, you can just say C.x, C.y, and P.x and P.y. So that's the person, and that's the center's location, center's X and Y, and this is the person's X and Y, right? Okay. After I've done this, I've got the distance. I'll check that if current less than min, if it is, minimum is equal to current. That's it. So minimum is equal to current. And by the way, I need to find out, after I've done this, I said minimum is equal to current. I need to also store which is the center over here, right? So center, min center equal to null. Put that here. So initially it's null. I say that, okay, if current is less than the minimum, then min center is equal to C. This center right now is the minimum center. Once I'm out of this list, I've got the minimum center for this P. Simply put, I will say that, I'll say that map.put, rather map.get for this min center, right? Get this particular min center, dot add in that list go ahead and add this P. This P is someone who would be going to that particular center over here. Okay. So now, again, just to rewind what exactly we have done over here. I've initialized some current over here. You can just leave that as is. The idea is I'm saying that the minimum is this distance. Again, just for initialization purposes, I'm assuming the minimum center is some null value. Okay. I'm going through all of the centers in my list. So this is the person. For this particular person, I'll go through all of the centers in my list. I'll see which has the minimum distance from this person. How am I doing that? I'm calculating this using the dist function. So what's the dist function? I'm going to actually write that dist function here. But using that, if my current value is less than the minimum value given to us, that is the minimum value we had so far, then minimum is current and min center is equal to C. Okay. Which means that this is the minimum distance center I have. Then I go to the next center. If that has a less than C value, that is closer, then that will be updated here, and so on. We'll keep going forward and keep updating whatever values we have, right? Finally, when I come out of this list, so come out of the C list, I will have a min center. This is the minimum center. In my map, I will get that minimum center. In that, I will go and add P as a person who's going to be visiting that particular center. Okay, so I'm going to be adding P as a person who's going to be visiting that center. Now, just to tell you what's actually happened here, let's go through it. Let's go through all of the centers. Let's say so for center C in C list. Let's say if I go through all of the centers, and let me just print all of the people who are there in each center right now as per our categorization. Let's just actually just print that at least. It will not be sorted, but at least let's print that. So I'll say for people P in which list, I will say map.get C. So get the list associated with this particular center and just print out the particular person's name. Print out the particular person's name here and press save and print a new line after you're done with this center. Okay, let me just run and check. We might, okay. And we didn't do distance. Sorry, we didn't do distance yet. So I should just do distance. I should very quickly do the distance also. Public static double distance. Say int x, int y. We can just do int a. Better yet, x1, y1. X2, Y2. Everybody remembers the distance formula. What's the distance formula, everybody? Can you very quickly tell me what's the distance formula? What's the distance formula, everyone? Just wait for you guys to tell me the distance formula. Speed into time is correct, but when you're given x1, y1, x2, y2, that's not correct. Very good. x1 minus x2 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, the whole thing under a square root. Very good. Math.sqrt x2 minus x1. This thing has to be done square. So I can just do x2 minus x1 into x2 minus x1. I could have used math.power, so that's fine. X2 minus x1 whole square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, right? So y2 minus y1 into y2 minus y1. Right? That's the case, and yeah, and return this distance. Actually, answer and answer. Don't want to confuse the variables. Okay, let's run this and see now. Yeah, made a tiny mistake here. Bracket missed out. Okay, I didn't end up printing anything. All right, that means something has gone wrong. I've not really printed anything. Current is equal to this distance math dot square root. One second, where is the distance part? not added into plist. Okay, I didn't add into plist. Is that the case? Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So plist dot add p1. Okay, missed out that. All right. So forget these ones, but actually Atul, Neeraj and Shivam, I'm actually getting. I've not sorted them, but probably in the first one, the sorting was already as per the order of insertion. So I'm already getting Atul, Neeraj, and Shivam as part of the first center. Again, for center 2 and center 3, because there is nothing there, I need to print empty center. Right. So actually I need to print empty center over there. So let me also, take that up here. So I'll say if map dot get c, and this is the list I'm getting, dot size is equal to 0, then I just print out println empty, and the spelling of center is TRE, is it? Okay. And actually I'll just continue this. Continue. Otherwise, if it's not the case, then you can go ahead and print all the values. So yeah, it passes the test case here, and I should ideally sort it because yeah, it's not passing these test cases. So one test case still passed, by the way, without sorting. The remaining test cases obviously are not yet passing. Okay, so the reason for that is we mapped everybody to the correct center, but within the center, we have not yet sorted all of the people, right? So we have not actually sorted the people over there. All right, so now it's time to sort the people within the center. Okay, how do I actually do that? Does anybody remember this? How do you actually do sorting of objects? Do you remember which concepts we use and so on? Does anybody remember this? In Java, how do you actually do sorting and so on? Usually we have a lot of Java people in the class, so I rely on you guys to give me the syntax for it. Where are my Java folks who have done Java and are good at the Java syntax? Come on, guys. So yeah, I am talking about comparator and comparable, but which one of comparator and comparable will we use over here? Can you please explain in Python also? Sure, I think we will have enough time to do this in Python as well. Yeah. All right. Nobody remembers comparator, comparable. Nobody actually remembers this part. If you don't remember, you can just say don't remember. So that's also fine. But do say something, because I've been speaking a long time. No response from you guys yet. Please do say something. Okay. Others? Others? Let me check. YouTube also, I guess. YouTube, somebody saying, please explain in Python. All right, cool. What about others? Any, you guys remember any of this? Comparator, comparable, anybody remembers? All right, just waiting for your answer. Okay, everybody, what's up? Awake, not awake? What's the scene on the chat? Completely lost this question. Not sure what happened. Say something, everybody. Remembered, sir, but don't know how to implement. Okay, all right. Fair enough. Even I'm digging up one or two of the, because the good thing about this is it's a what do you say, open book test, right? So we can actually look up, so it as well. So as far as I remember, what you need to do is you need to actually say class people, and you'll actually say implements comparable, right? This is what you're going to say. What's the exact syntax of that? Let me just get that as well. 1 second. Yeah, I think we have to do this implements comparable, but do we then put over here people. Okay, I'll just put this and let's see how that goes. So we say it implements comparable, and if it does implement the comparable, then we have to also implement the compare to method, I guess. Yeah, we have to use the compare to method, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, public int compare to people P2. This is the P2, right? And how am I supposed to compare them? First is based on category, right? So I'm going to base it first on category. So first is based on category or age. Let's just look at that again. So it's based on age first. So first age and then category. All right, fair enough. So first is age. So I have to do on the base of age. Now the compare to method is like, if I do -1, it means that mine is lesser than the other one. If I do 0, then I say that it's equal. And if I do +1, it means that the other one is greater, right? So let's just do it this way and then we'll figure out. So basically, if so we have to first do it by age, right? So if p, or rather if this dot age less than p2 dot age, then means I am -1, right? Else if this dot age is greater than p2 dot age, so then, but sorry, what did it say? It said that the one who's older goes first, right? Older is the one who's going first. Oh, okay, older person goes first. So then the higher age will be the one who comes first. So the higher age will be the -1. Greater is equal to -1. Then lesser is equal to return 1. Else, if they both are equal, now because both are equal, then I will go into the next one, which is category. Yeah. Then finally, it's going to be the name. So if I'm going to do it based on the category, I will, if I am a category, so if I am coming on a category, I will go first and then the next person, right? So I can actually just use, okay, so if p1 dot, okay, the better way to do that would be just return p1 dot category dot compare to p2 dot category, right? So this, I'm using the compare to method of a string. p1 dot category will be a string. When I compare it to p2 dot category, if p1 comes before p2, that is a comes before b, right? So if a is before b, it will return -1 anyways. If a is equal to b, sorry, if b is there, then it will return 1. But if they're equal, so I have to take care of that actually. So if p1 dot category dot p2 dot category equal to 0, then I have to do it based on their name, right? If they both are equal, then I have to do based on the name. So then I will do p1 dot name dot compare to p2 dot name. Then I'm going to do it based on the name. Else I will, return based on that one only. This. That should ideally work, right? So first, let me even see, does this compile before even doing the sort part? Package p1 does not exist, right? Okay, correct. It should not be p1, it should be this. Everywhere it should be this, and it should be this over here because I'm doing comparable, I'm not doing comparator. So then next, okay, so fine, this at least in that term works. Next, I just need to do dot sort, right? So if it's null, I do this. Otherwise, collections dot sort maps dot get c. Just sort it, and after sorting, that should be the case. Yeah, and if I submit it, let's see. Yep. All right, so that works out. because I implemented the sorting part as well. How do I implement the sorting part? It's because I use the comparable function. I've used the comparable method, which is available in Java. Again, similar thing exists in Python also. I can very quickly show that as well, but it exists in Python as well. Okay. Once I explain the process again, absolutely, I'll explain the entire thing. Okay, don't worry on that. Cool. But the point is, good question. Tests all of your logic and all of the concepts from all across, right? So, okay, very quickly, I'll tell you step by step what we've done. Okay, and I'll show you the code also. So, number one, okay, what we did, we took input all centers. For each center, we took input all the centers, added all the centers to a list called as C list. This contains basically all of the centers. Also initialized a map. What is the map? Basically, what we've done is we've initialized the map here such that every center, so let's say it's like center 1 will have a list, right? So P1, P2, P3, and so on, right? And center 2 will have another list, P4, P5, P6, and so on, right? At the time when we are initializing, we don't initialize anything. We just initialize an empty list of people. This center list has to be populated with people. Okay. I'll just show you how we did that over here. If you come here and see, this is the scanner. M is the number of people, the number of centers. M is the number of centers. Now, what I've done here is I've said that, okay, create a map such that the key will be the center and each center will have a list of people. So that's what we've done here. List of people is equal to new list of people. That's what we have done here. Okay. Now, and we also created a list of centers. So we create a list of centers and we create a map for the centers. As we're taking the input center, we create a new center object. We also add it to this list of centers. And for that center, we create a key and we create an empty list of people. Till here, is everybody understanding? Did you all understand till here so far? Okay, awesome. So now if you got it till here, next what we need to do is get input the list of people. So the next I'm going to do is I'm going to take input list of people. That's what I'm going to do. And not going to do anything about the list of people, just going to take input the list of people. That's about it, right? So I took input the list of people, I created a people object and I added them to the list of people. Now my first task is to get all of the people assigned into a center. So to first take the people and assign them to a particular center. So that's my first task over here, which is for each person, go through all centers and find the best one. Okay, I'm going to go through all center and find the best one. How do I find the best one? It has to be the closest one. So what I do, I have to find the one which has the minimum distance from this person. So that's what I did here. I'm saying that, okay, take a person P. I'll do this for all P. I'll take a person P. I'll go through all of the centers that are there in the C list. I took a person P. I'm going to go through all of the centers that are there in the C list. I'll calculate the distance. Once I've calculated the distance, I will see if it is less than the minimum distance I have minimum distance I have found so far. If it is, okay, this is the minimum distance and update the minimum center to be this one. Go on to the next center and the next center. This is the general way of how you find minimum at any time, right? Always try to find the minimum based on this. Try to go to the entire thing, and basically figure out which is the minimum element, which is the minimum distance. Finally, when I exit this loop, which is I've gone through all of the centers possible, I exited it. The moment I've come out, I am having with me the minimum center that is the center with the minimum distance. So I get that center and I say that, okay, in the map, go to that center and to its list, add me. which list am I talking about? Again, if you remember, for each center we had created a map. So for that center, go to that center, get that center's list and add me over there. Okay, that would be this loop over here. Did you all understand this loop? Is there any particular part you want me to explain here? Do you all understand this loop? Do say yes, no, something. Anybody? Did you guys get it? Not get it? Please do let me know. Can you repeat? Sure. Which part did you not repeat? Did you not understand? Okay, so see, I'm going through all people. Okay. For each person, going through all centers. Okay, I'm going through all the centers in the center list, calculating the distance with each center. That's what I'm doing. This current is equal to distance. Distance is a function we wrote to calculate the distance with each center. So I calculate the distance of this person P with this center. Let's say the first one come out to be distance is, let's say 5. Okay. So I say, okay, minimum is equal to 5. And I say that min center is equal to, let's say, C1. Then I go to C2 and I find out that min is equal to, that the distance is actually equal to 2. I say, oh, this is less than the current minimum. Update the minimum to 2. And then min center is now equal to C2. You go to the third center and you find out that the distance is 10. Is that less than the minimum? No, it's not. So you don't update. If it's not less than the minimum, you don't update and the min center continues to be C2. Finally, when I exit this loop, I will have in min center the minimum center that's present. We'll get that. And to that, so what I'll do is I will get that center's list of people, the people who are supposed to go to the center. And to that, I will add this P. That is, I will add my current person to that. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, super, great. Now, once I've done with this, I simply need to go through all the centers and for each center, print the list of people. Which are the list of people? We already added all the list of people. Now, the catch is I can't just list the list of people without sorting them because all these people came to the center. We know which center they have to go to. But within the center, who goes first, who goes second, and so on, we don't know. Right? So for that, what we do is we actually sort it. Now, in order to sort an array list, when we do this map.getC, we are actually getting the array list of that center. But in order to sort that array list, what I need to do is I need to tell Java how I'm going to sort it. Right? So to be able to sort it, I use something called as a comparable. So this is an interface called comparable, which basically tells Java that if you wanted to compare two objects of this people class, then this is how you compare it. And how would you compare it? You would basically write a compare to method. This compare to method should return -1 if current object should come before. So current object should come before P2, should return 0 when current object is equal to P2, and will return 1 when current object should be greater than P2. Meaning, if I were to sort these bunch of people in a line, who should come at index 0? Well, the person who compared to all the other people is always lesser. So when I compare two people, the comparison should give me, if it gives me -1, then my current person should come before the next person. For more on this, do read out comparable and compare to method. You'll get an understanding of this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the compare to method. And first things first is the age is the decider. If my age is greater than the next person's age, if this age is greater than the person I'm comparing to, return -1 because I will always come before the next person because my age is greater. If my age is lesser than that, right? If my age is lesser than that, then I have to come after, no matter my name or category. If my age is lesser than the next person, I have to come after that person. So I say return one. But else, if both our ages are equal, then I have to check based on category. Now this is checking based on category. It's simply doing like, it's going to compare A to some B. It's going to compare, let's say, A to a B. If I compare A to B, if you use Java's own string comparison, if they both are equal, we'll do something else. But if you compare A to B, it will return -1 because A comes before B. So if it happens to return equal, then I'll compare via name. If it happens to be unequal, then what I'll do is I'll say if A is less than B, then basically I'm in category A, I should come first. Otherwise, if this comes out to be that no, I'm in category B, so it's going to return accordingly over here. Basically, category wise, if it's category A or category B, if I'm in A will be less than B, it will return -1, so I'll return -1. If I'm B and the other person is A, B compared to A will return 1, and rightfully, because I should come after the next person, right? And if the categories are equal, that is what this is doing. If the categories are equal, then compare the name and return it. So I hope that was clear. I hope it was not too confusing. I hope this was clear. So it sorts the array, and after the array sorted, we just print this thing. So I hope that was sort of clear for you. Right? As per the request, I will do the Python version as well. Okay, clear? Okay. All right. So as per request, let me do the Python version, everybody. Let me quickly do the Python version. It should not take too long. Python will be less verbose, so it should be fine. So let's quickly get that done. So let me just do it in Python. It's the last day. I don't want you guys to go back saying that sir did not do the Python version, should have done, and so on. So that's why. Anyway, m is equal to int input. This is the number of centers that we have. Then you have all the centers. So you'll get for I in range m, number of centers. What we will now, the good or bad part in Python will be that I don't have to actually say class C and all of that. I can just kind of go ahead and describe the object there and then itself, right? So, or I can actually create like a dictionary object every time also. That's fine. So just help me jog my memory, guys. Python people, all the Python people on the chat, do help me. So I'll say centers is equal to list. So let's say centers list I'll create, and there'll be a people's list as well, right? And I should also have a dictionary, right? So I'll have a map over here. Okay, map is a keyword. So I'll just say, center map, center underscore map is equal to a dictionary like this, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take input a dictionary. So I'll say x comma y is equal to list map int input dot split. So this is the x and y. Should create a new center right now. So current is equal to, and if I'm not mistaken, guys, this is how it's actually created, right? So just do x is equal to x, and y is equal to y for this particular current. And what I'll do is I'll say centers dot append current, and I will also do center underscore map of current is equal to an empty list. So what I'm doing here for all the Python people, just very quickly showing, creating a map of centers to people. Initially, people list is empty. So I don't have anybody going to a particular people's list, right? So sorry, I don't have anybody going to a particular vaccination center at this point. So I will say that it's the people list is empty. Okay, cool. So I did this for all of the inputs in M. Then now I'll take n is equal to int input. This is the number of people. After I've taken this, I will do for j in range n, right? Now for people, there are 2-3 things that come up. There is, so I'll just take info is equal to input dot split, right? And first things first is name is equal to info of 0. Then comes age, I believe, name, age, category, and location. Name, age will be equal to info of 1, and it has to be int info of 1. Int info of 1. Name age category is equal to info of 2, and my x will be equal to info of 3, and y will be equal to info of 4, right? And then let's again create a current person over here. So I'll say current is equal to x is x, y is y, that's fine. We will also have info is not info, sorry, name is equal to name, and age is equal to age, and category is equal to category, right? All right, so I got all of my okay, now I have to add it to the people's list. I was just about to make the same mistake as earlier. So people.add current. Okay, so I added the people also to this. Now what do I need to do? First, I need to go through all of the people and then decide to go through all the people and then basically decide. Somebody's saying why coordinates in character? Oh, absolutely correct. So nice, actually. You're right. This here I made an input in integer, so it's fine. But here it needs to be int x. Very good catch. And even this needs to be int of age, by the way. Int of age, and this also needs to be int of y. Okay, superb catch. All right. Cool. Okay, age was already int, so I didn't have to do this. And ideally, I should do it here. If you're being very, very detailed, ideally it should be int of this, and this also should be info. And same thing here, int of. All right. So did this. Now I can actually put this as x and y, and I've added it to the people's list as of now. Right now, I'll go through all of the people. So I'll say for p in people, I'm going to go through all of the people, and I'm going to go to for c in centers. I'm going to go through all of the centers as well. So for c in centers, right, and I'll try to find out the minimum with the center with the minimum distance, right? So I'll say that okay. Right, so I'll say that min dist is equal to, again, some big value, and min center is again some let's just say c of centers of 0. I assume the first center to be the, in fact, we should actually have just done that. I don't even know why I did that in the previous one. The min distance should be equal to centers of, okay, no, that would be wrong. Okay, I'll just create like something big like this, and min center is equal to centers of 0. Now I'm going to go through all of the centers going forward, and I'm going to see if distance between p dot x, or rather not p dot x, p of x comma p dot x comma p dot y and c of x and c of y, right? If the distance of this is less than the min distance, if this is the case, then what do? I say that, okay, min distance, and ideally I should have done it like this. Current distance is equal to this. Don't want to calculate it again and again. It's equal to this. If current distance less than min distance, then min distance is equal to current distance, and min center is equal to c, is equal to the particular c. Once I'm out of this, I will basically go to my map. So I'll go to center map. Let's say center underscore map of c, and go and append dot append. And who am I going to append? I'm going to append my person p right now. So I'll go to center map c and append this person over here, right? Okay, And here I have already created this center map is equal to an empty list. So then it should work out. So I did this. Okay. And then now I'm going to go through each center. So for C in center underscore map, if first of all, if so I'll get another thing. I'll say current people list is equal to center underscore map of C, right? I'll get the list right now. And if current underscore people underscore list, if the len of this is equal to 0, then I can just print over here empty center, right? Else I need to actually sort the list. So how do I sort the list over here? All right, let me just check some messages have come in. So can you please repeat why we are maintaining min center? It's to find the minimum center, right? The minimum distance between any two for the people and the center, because I need to, it's not just about the min distance for a particular person. I need to find out which center they should go to. So min distance helped me figure out the distance to that place, but I need to know which center to go to so that I can just go to this. Okay, and it should not be C, by the way. So sorry, it should be min center. For this min center, go and append P. That's the reason why we should do it. Okay. All right. So empty center is what I have to print. Should we print empty center only, right? Let me just run this quickly and see. It will be wrong, obviously, but empty center, RE. Okay. By the way, category should be like this. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine if length is equal to this print empty center. Otherwise, I need to sort this, right? So current underscore people underscore list dot sort and what is the way in which you do the custom sort in Python, everybody? Can you very quickly refresh my memory? Dot sort. It was something x, x lambda x, right? What was the syntax? Can anybody just quickly remind me? Based on lambda x, right? I believe it was something like lambda x equal to, and then I need to give the sorting criteria. What is my sorting criteria? My sorting criteria is, first things first, is based on age, and the higher the age, it'll come first. So it's going to be minus x of age, right? Then will come the category. So I will give category because A will come before B. And after category, I am looking at name. So it's going to be like x of name, right? So that is the, I believe this is the, I don't exactly recall the sorting, what do you call it? Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm the syntax for the name. Syntax. Yeah, but using sorted would be better. Yeah, that's also fine. Sorted of this, that's also fine. Yeah. So for in current underscore people, print p dot name and space, right? And after I'm done with that, I just print a new line. So let's see. 1 second. I think X should not be there, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, no, it is there. So then I think, yeah, this one is the issue. Yeah, this is invalid syntax. I made a mistake somewhere. Lambda X, it's not X is equal to, or is it like something like this? Do you guys remember? I am a little bit blanking on this one. Let me just check. I know it's there on the Edyst platform itself, but let me quickly get it. And if you guys remember, please do let me know in the chat. second. Oh, okay, I forgot to say key is equal to lambda. Yep, that's the correct one. Key is equal to the x, something like this, right? Key is equal to lambda x of invalid syntax. Spelling of lambda is also okay. I'm done. What mistake am I making, everybody? But key is equal to lambda x. Yeah, something like this, right? X is equal to, yeah, this is how it would go. Of this sort, or what? Am I making some mistake here? Removing parentheses, like I never use them. Okay, I don't think that really. Like this? I guess so. Yeah, that makes it not a function. Okay, cool. So that was the issue. And current is, yeah, it should be current here. That was the other issue. All right, so center map underscore current is equal to unhashable type dict. Ah, I see. A dictionary cannot be hashed, right? Interesting, interesting. Okay, we can just put it as x comma y actually. I believe we can just put it as x comma y here. And yeah, current is equal to x comma y here. But we have to just change it somewhere. Yeah, so this stops becoming, becomes c of 0 and c of 1 is what it becomes. Anywhere else? People dot add current. This is in line 29. Append. That's what happens when you mix Java and Python. Dist is not defined. Okay, we have not yet defined the dist function. Okay, cool. So def dist x1 y1 x2 y2, right? And return x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. The whole thing is under square root. Current people not defined, so that should be current people list. Oh man, there's a lot of things. So p dot name, correct. It's not p dot name. It should be p of name. Okay, it passes those test cases and it passes these test cases. All right. So a lot of compiler errors because we were switching between Java and Python, but that's how it works. So moral of the story is please do remember how to do custom sorting in your own programming language. Right, so please do use custom sorting to follow like how it works. You're absolutely right. Lambda bracket x does not make sense because this is lambda function of x, right? That's not the case. We're creating a lambda function x here, right? So that's how it is. All right. So any last doubts, everybody, before we close the session for today? It's gone for a long time. As promised, it was a marathon session. We've gone about at least 2 hours, 15 minutes or so. So any last questions or doubts about this? Plagiarism I already shared at the start of the session. So this was the recording at the start of the session. I already spoke about plagiarism. So you can check that out. Okay, cool. Anybody else? Any last questions or doubts or anything? If it's all clear, please say clear. Please do say clear if it's all clear. Have doubt? Okay, just tell me. Let me know the doubt. So we're getting thank you for participating like thing on the website. Okay, that even I'm not sure. That's the first I am hearing of it. I don't know why that's coming, but again, when it's open tomorrow, so see, one thing about CodeVita is until they're active, it will look very inactive. The moment it's active, you will start seeing everything. So while it might show thank you for participating, you'll see next time. The moment they open the actual thing, it will be suddenly you'll feel like, oh, okay, it started. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. If yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that as such. Actually, I think most people might be facing that, but I've not heard about it as yet, so I can't comment on that. Okay. Others, any other doubts or questions? If it's clear, please do say clear. We'll wrap up the session for today. Okay. Do say clear, everybody. Please just give me a clear once, and then I'll go ahead. All right. Okay. Okay, somebody's saying how to submit the codes. Like they said, we can only do it once. Please do read the instructions properly tomorrow. So generally speaking, they allow you to submit, but they allow you to submit like once in every 10 minutes or so. So make sure you have thought of all the edge cases and all on your local compiler. Do it as much as possible on your local compiler, and then only put it on the platform. Don't do it on online compilers, by the way, because if the online compiler is public, they might think that you have plagiarized from that public. Like, even though you only wrote it there, they might think that you plagiarized from there. So don't do it on a public online compiler, but simply do it on your own local compiler. Once you're done with it on your local compiler, then only upload it. It's not that they'll allow you only one submission. They'll just not allow you to continuously do it. You'll have to wait like a few minutes before you can do it again. So do it on your own system first. That would be better. Okay. All right. Cool. Anybody else? Any questions or anything? Any last questions? Just give me a clear once more, everybody. Okay. All right. So all the best, everybody, for your CodeVita tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good one. If you did, please let us know. If you didn't, still please let us know. Reach out to us, email us at team@edyst.com. And we'd love to hear from you about your experience. It helps us improve the experience for the people in the next time as well. So email team@edyst.com with your experience with CodeVita and anything else in general. Right? That would be really helpful. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Really nice speaking to all of you. Wishing you guys all the best, and I'll catch you all next time. Thank you so much.